iHeartRadio.
Say ho, ho, say ho, 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 ho. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Say ho, ho, say ho, whoa, ho, whoa. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Yep. Tuesday. You and I have talked about Tuesday at some length, haven't we? It's a day where there seems like there's no end in sight to the week. On a Monday, you gird up your loins. You know it's going to be a giant, never-ending bag of suck because it's Monday. But you can only stay with loins girded up so long. You can only harden that emotional armor that it takes to get through the day that is Monday. For a 24-hour period, you got to let it down sometime, and that usually happens on Tuesday. And right when you're not looking, Tuesday sneaks up and sucker punches you from behind because you realize there's no end in sight to this week. Tuesday morning, I think Tuesday morning, if you're like me, that's the time of the week where you are most likely to commit vehicular homicide, or you are most likely to walk into your place of business and be like, oh, it's F this S o'clock. I am out of here, bitches. And I'm here to tell you, that's understandable and that's justifiable. But it doesn't always serve the common good. And by the common good, I mean your good and the good of the people around you that you care about. The ones that you don't care about, whatever, potato. But unless you're some sort of cold, unfeeling robot, or unless you lack a whole lot of social skills, you got people in your life that you care about. And losing your S the way you want to, whether it be on a Tuesday or any other day of the week, is probably not going to serve you or serve them. So if you look at Tuesday like most people look at Tuesday, specifically Tuesday mornings, where the week seems absolutely freaking interminable and you feel like, yep, this is going to be it. This is going to be the moment that I walk in to the management office or wherever the hell it is I have to report to on a regular basis, whip it out and proceed to tell the entire company what I think of their policies and the things they have me do through the expression of a bodily function. If that's the subtext that is playing in your mind on a Tuesday, stay with me. We'll get through it together. It'll all work out just fine. And tomorrow will be Wednesday, that glorious day where you get the little emotional boost of knowing you've made it halfway through another week of soul-destroying drudgery in the workplace, and you've only got a couple more days left. A mere 48-hour period of urinating your life away under fluorescent tubes working for the man. So, it's a cheery way to start Tuesday's edition of the show. I get bent out of shape when people aren't original, it's hard to be original. It really is. And I don't mean that it's difficult to be original in terms of it's tough coming up with stuff on your own. Like anybody that's worth their salt in the world of radio, in the world of writing, in the world of comedy, in the world of whatever the hell it is we call this constant stream of content that is the media at the moment. Anybody that's worth their salt can do that. But it's when you find out that your brain is programmed exactly the same way as everybody else's, that everybody else is having the same thoughts, that you get a little despondent. You're like, damn, I thought that one was original. And you know what'll help you do that? Twitter. Like whenever I think up a funny and I want to tweet it out, I do a quick Google search. Like I pop what I'm going to put into Twitter, into Google. I can find a bazillion other tweets, bazillion other similar observations close to mine that other people have decided to tweet out. So it's not hard coming up with things that are original. It's just, you realize rather quickly in this digital age that almost nothing is original. We're all thinking the same things at once. And now we all have the ability to externalize and sort of publish them to the world at once. You realize how in line your thinking is with a lot of other people. Basically, if you come up with a joke, chances are someone else on Twitter did it first. And so it's harder in this day and age to feel original. And that's good in some ways, because I'll let you in on a little inside baseball at the moment. It's good because it's pushed people to have original, better thoughts. You know, if you are in the entertainment world and you're trying to come up with something, there's a good chance that somebody else has done it before. And because someone doing it before could be a matter of them tweeting out something similar 30 seconds before you do, it's that much easier to find out that you're an unoriginal SOB. So you tend to work a little harder for that sort of thing, which is great if you have integrity and creative integrity, and you're creatively integritous. Is that a word? It is now, bitches. If you're creative with your integrity in the world of entertainment. So that side of it has raised the bar. But here's the thing. It's also made it jarringly obvious when people are nothing more than rip-off artists. Funkhauser, how much time do we have left?
Like 2 minutes.
Like 2 minutes? How long is that segment that we're going to hear?
Too long.
Too long? All right. Well, in that case, we'll get to it when we get back. But I don't know about you. As someone who's been a writer, like before I was in radio, I was in a band. And before my radio thing took off, I did absolutely anything I could to pay bills. And one of the things I did was I wrote for a couple of different magazines. And that was a way of paying the bills. And when you do that, when the thoughts that come out of your head that you write down, you put on paper, you type up, you edit, you get together, when that's your bread and butter, it makes it that much more offensive when you find out people are making careers out of being a rip-off artist. And there's someone very noteworthy, very public, that absolutely is. And we have the audio proof of this person's lack of originality and hypocrisy. And I'll say it, plagiarism for you when we get back. Who is it? You'll find out shortly. Join the conversation at ADSXE at Funk FM.
I feel like I just can't make it through. I try to think what will Cliff tell Theo to do.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Jimmy Page to talk about the beginning of he and Robert Plant's musical partnership.
I had material like Dazed and Confused. I had the whole arrangement together of Baby, I'm Gonna Leave You and the source of the verse. And it actually, I heard it on a Joan Baez in concert record. It's nothing like our version. But I did play him that original one. I thought it was, at the time, I thought it was a traditional song. I didn't know. Because I know that at the time those folk artists were doing lots of traditional songs. And plus she did like 3 in-concert albums. This is one of them, and I heard this track and I thought that's really haunting. Along the way, even it was in the days of the Yardbirds, I'd come up with this, right on the tail end, I'd come up with this whole interpretation of how it could be done. So I got into my house and I was sort of presenting him these sort of things, these ideas. And, you know, we had a real good connection because he was, to be fair, even though he said he liked West Coast music or whatever, this clearly wasn't ever going to be anything like that. But he was up and open for the sort of things that I was sort of showing him, if you like. You know, I was opening up for him. So that was useful because, to be honest, if he hadn't sort of locked into it, then I'd have been looking for somebody else who was.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Jimmy Page and all your favorite artists.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Mumford & Sons about how they might change up their distinctive sound.
Hip-hop. It'd be amazing. It's not going to happen because we'd be rubbish at it.
Yeah, we would not be a good hip-hop band.
That's the thing. Daft Punk can be good at other stuff. We're sort of a one-trick pony, you know. No, we might. I want to get a drummer now. I'm saying it.
I'm going to say it too.
I want a drummer now. I like playing with drummers.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from your favorite artists.
If you like what you're hearing, tweet the show at ADSXE. AD on iHeartRadio.
Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want. This is my United States of whatever. Picture me giving a damn, I said never. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that route.
So a little inside baseball for you this morning. A little peek behind the curtains of radio and media in general. If you're just joining the show, you probably heard me ranting and raving about being original. And it's a bit of a double-edged sword in this digital age because you realize, thanks to things like Twitter and Facebook and just digital media in general, there's almost nothing original. It's impossible, borderline impossible to be original. And basically, the way you know this is if you think of a funny, or if you think of an observation, or if you think of something that's going to make you chuckle and think will make your friends chuckle, and you want to put it out on Twitter or Facebook, or you want to release it off into the digital ether and make a couple friends laugh or smile or go, gee, that guy's funny and clever. All you got to do is Google what you're going to tweet before you tweet it. You'll see that like 8 million people have gotten there before you. Sometimes maybe just through the benefit of being in a time zone that's a little bit earlier. But it makes you realize how little true originality is left in the world. And it makes you try that little bit harder to be original. And as someone who's made his living, eked out a bit of a living off of his written word when I was writing for magazines back in the day before radio started. Note the sarcastic air quotes around this statement. Paying the bills. Before radio started paying the bills, I would write for all these magazines. And that made me a little protective of writing and writers and intellectual property, I suppose. And you kind of get a little hacked off when people are either ripping you off or not putting the effort into creating their own stuff, as it were. So it's one thing when someone fails to be original, but they're trying to be original. But when someone's just blatantly making money off of being a rip-off artist, that's extraordinarily hard to stomach. I'll give you an example. Once. And by the way, this is how money is made in the digital world. I noticed that a lot of my tweets, maybe about a year or two ago, I noticed a lot of my tweets were word for word being retweeted, not even retweeted, because that would imply they were giving me credit for it, by some sort of comedic parody account. They were copying and pasting my stuff and sending it out into the world. And I think it was a parody account. It was Fake Cat Williams, if I remember correctly. And I noticed Fake Cat Williams was following me, and so I proceeded to put Fake Cat Williams on blast on Twitter. I was like, look, I don't know how the hell you get paid for this, but I'm sure you're making money off of it in some way, shape, or form. So the fact that you're making money off of my thoughts, I'm not okay with that. Stop, you unoriginal piece of crap. And Fake Cat Williams messaged me privately and was like, hey, Ixnay, if I give you a couple of free tweets, will that make this go away? I was like, free tweets? What do you mean? And Fake Cat Williams had about, 1.2 million followers. And got that 1.2 million followers by doing things like copying and pasting tweets from people like me, rather than all that pesky coming up with things on your own. Like 1.2 million followers. And Fake Cat Williams sent me a price list. He's like, this is what I charge people for tweeting, like advertisements and stuff. And it was like, $50 a tweet, $25 a tweet. I'm not sure. I can't remember the exact number, but he was like, I'll give some free tweets to you. And I was like, okay, I've never seen anything like this before. So now my curiosity is absolutely, piqued. Why don't we just go ahead and give me some free tweets? That'll be cool. Let's see what happens. And Fake Cat Williams tweets out like 4 or 5 times, follow this funny ass white boy, and puts my Twitter handle up there. Boom. 500 extra followers. I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. That's how people monetize other people's intellectual property. At least I know how it works now. Doesn't make me any less resentful of the whole thing. I guess they're smart in some way, shape, or form, and it happens so quickly and it happens so fast that it's bored. Like I talk to lawyers about this all the time that are buddies of mine. I'm like, what about this whole sort of like idea of intellectual property being stolen and used on the internet? And they're just like, it's so hard to prove anything, and it is so difficult to take legal action, and the amounts of money that can be won in these situations are so small that it makes it not worth it. So basically, yeah, everybody's ripping off everybody else and getting away with it. It's just the way of the world. And I was like, well, that hacks me off. And he's like, yeah, it should hack you off. As someone who creates content, as someone who creates things for the interwebs, you should be hacked off. And so today, after hearing this particular montage of absolute, it's proof that this very well-known person who's made a career out of public speaking is little more than a rip-off artist. Now, bear in mind, I didn't think this guy had a ton of integrity to begin with, and there are all sorts of things that he does that bother me in the first place, things that I think add to the problems he purports to try and solve, that makes divisions of race greater and more dangerous for all of us, that just, I don't